else was found in the suspect's house. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
The government will continue deregistering and cancelling the operating permits of all hospitals and medical training facilities that do not meet the required standard. According to Health Cabinet Secretary Cecily Kariuki, Kenyans are receiving substandard medical services from some medical personnel and facilities. Speaking at North Coast Medical Training Institute in Kikambala, Kilifi, after opening a mosque, Kariuki said that patients are dying because of the kind of training some of the institutes are offering to medical students. This comes as St. Teresa Hospital in Kikuyu had its license revoked due to cases of negligence.
Because Kenya is lacking in quality, but I'm not done yet. You will see my teams on the ground coming to make a reassessment of all the facilities, na zingine we will cancel.
Sisi kama serikali ya kaunti kazi yetu ni kuajiri. Na ikiwa tunahitaji kuajiri, hatutaki twende mpaka nje ya Kilifi, nje ya pwani kutafuta nurses ambao wana kipawa, ambao wana uzoefu, ambao wana training ya zile nyanja ambazo zafundishwa hapa. Bila shaka college hii itakuwa kama reservoir ambapo wakati wote tunataka wataalamu wa nyanja tofauti tofauti katika pande ya afya bila shaka.
Kiambu County Police Commander Ali Nuno has proposed that all motorcycles that have been impounded by the police should be sold in accordance with the law. Nuno adds that this would allow the government to buy some that can be used by a special police force to fight crime. According to Nuno, most criminals use motorcycles to commit crime, making it difficult for police officers to pursue them using police vehicles. Some of the motorcycles were confiscated after road accidents and crimes ranging from traffic offences to robberies. Most police stations in the country have hundreds of impounded motorcycles, even as its popularity as a mode of transport continues to grow in the country.
With the approval and support of the Chief Executive, I intend, as the County Commander Kiambu, to proclaim all motorcycles lying in our yards and using the resources at our disposal, purchase, so that we are able to come with a modus operandi quite efficient and which will enable us to defeat these criminals on their own game as well.
Wakienda kuiba mahali fulani na fulani, na kwa hivyo wakiwa na hizo pikipiki wataweza kuingia njia zote zile ziko within, na wataingia, wakiingia nayo wa make sure that hata ule mwenye anaendesha pikipiki awe ni askari, ndio asibebe mtu mmoja aende avamiwe naye ni wakora. Wakiwa wawili watakaribiana na hiyo wakora, na hiyo wakora wataisha.
Do you agree with him? You can share your thoughts on @NTV Kenya. Kenya and Ethiopian teams have met in Kibish to try and resolve the recurrent cross-border conflicts between the two countries. Led by Turkana Governor Josephat Nanok, the Kenyan team traveled to Kibish, which is 430 kilometers from Lodwar, to meet their Ethiopian counterparts, led by Nyangatom Warda and South Omo Zone Chief Administrative Secretary Abraham Eris, in a peace meeting to iron out issues of cross-border conflicts that have immensely contributed to the ongoing drought in Turkana. The conflicts flare up during times of drought when pastoralists on either side of the countries cross over with their animals in search of pasture and water, sparking violent confrontations. The meeting resolved to keep open intergovernment communication channels in order to flag potential trouble spots.
Both sides have been discussed and agree on future intervention, like following up of the theft activities, and also to fix the connection, communication between two administration from Kenya and Ethiopia.
We also agreed that there will be regular engagement between the two governments, but also the leadership of the local community, the Kro leaders, to be able to sit and try and resolve the very basic common issues that have been a cause of conflicts in the past, which has basically been around pastures and water and cattle theft. Theft of cattle, theft of sheep.
Now, as Ramadan approaches, young Muslims have been encouraged to maintain peace and concentrate on the real ideologies of the religion. The Generation of Peace organization, in conjunction with the Azhar mission in Kenya, held a forum in Isili, Nairobi, to educate Muslims ahead of the Ramadan.
Al-Azhar, an international peace mission group, is in the country educating young Muslims on peace and how to be better Muslims this Ramadan. The forum was attended by hundreds of Muslims in Isili, Nairobi.
We talked about the importance of education. We talked about the importance of Ramadan and how Muslims should behave during the month of Ramadan in terms of their proximity and closeness of their maker. As well as the need to work on the unity of the Ummah.
The group is partnering with the Generation of Peace, an organization that works with the youth in an effort to preach the gospel with the hope of deterring criminal activities. They also requested the government to ensure security during the holy month.
Naomba kwa mkurugenzi au mkubwa wa serikali, Rais Kenyatta, aweze kutupa amani na atuwekee maaskari kila sehemu ili kuweza kufanya ibada hii ya Ramadhani ya funga na sala ya tarawih katika hali iliyokuwa mzuri.
The group also brings together professionals from different fields who guide the youth on career and education. Halima Gongo, NTV.
A number of Mombasa residents are grappling with acute water shortage that has forced them to endure long queues in search of the commodity. The county government has come under sharp criticism from the residents who say that it has failed them. The worst hit are in Jomvu.
Fetching water for Jomvu residents in Mombasa County is an assignment that starts from 3 a.m. The acute water shortage has hit parts of the coastal city and its environs, with informal settlements bearing the brunt of the crisis. The worst hit area is the Bangladesh informal settlement, where residents have gone for months without water supply.
Hapa tunapanga laini saa 9 za usiku. Kwa hivyo mama anatoka kwa nyumba, anakuja kupanga laini saa 9, ameacha mzee kwa nyumba. Na bado ushapanga hizo laini, huwezi regea. Itabidi ukae hapo ndio angalie mitungi yako, kwa sababu mitungi inaibiwa. Na pia lazima uangalie ndio hakikishe kwamba kuna usalama. Sindi.
Other areas affected are Mikindani, Miritini and Jomvu Kuu.
Tunakuwa na kisima kimoja hapa tu kidogo tu, na watu wanaingia hapo maji inaisha. Kisima kidogo tu, hata tujaona mkono wa serikali. Ni kama serikali sisi imetusahau. Huyu ni mtu tu wa binafsi, tunaona anatusaidia kila kukicha, gari 2 gari 3 na hazitoshi. Wakati hizi gari zinakuja kwa uchache, watu wanaanza vita. Mitungi zinarushwa, mnaweza ona unafanya nini, inakuwa ni fujo, hakuna utaratibu. Imekuwa ni fujo ndio upate maji, mwenye nguvu ndiye anapata. Wale wanyonge pia hawapati, wa mama wazee hawawezi pata. Wale wa mama ambao wana watoto pia ni shida kupata maji.
Speaking at Amani Primary School in Mikindani, where he issued bursary checks worth 36 million shillings, Jomvu Member of Parliament Badi Twalib wants the county government to address the issue immediately and urgently.
Mambo ya maji na mambo mengine ya health yamekuwa purely dissolved into the county government. Ni kweli ama si kweli? Kwa hivyo leo naiambia county government yetu kuwa hilo ni jukumu lake, na lione kuwa issue hii imekuwa addressed to the fullest, kwa sababu leo watu wetu wa Jomvu wanaumia kwa ajili ya mambo ya maji ya kunywa, kwa ajili ya mambo ya maji ya kuoga. Hata na hakika kuna wengine wamekuja hapa leo kwa ajili maji ni shida, mtu amespea akaosha uso akasema wacha nende zangu nikachukue cheki nende zangu. Ni kweli ama si kweli?
Delayed construction of the Mikindani bypass has been pointed as one of the reasons behind the acute water shortage. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
Now for some politics, the Deputy President, William Ruto, has denied allegations that the ruling Jubilee Party is divided. DP Ruto explained that the development projects ongoing in various parts of the country is testament that the party is very united. The Deputy President was in Githunguri this morning, accompanied by various elected leaders, including Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waititu.
Jamii zote za Kenya ziko ndani ya Jubilee, kutoka Coast na mpaka Western, mpaka Nyanza, Central, Rift Valley, Northeastern, sehemu zote chama ya Jubilee imetuunganisha. Imetupatia rais, imetupatia wabunge karibu 200 na tuko na serikali. Hapo ndipo tegemeo ya haya mambo yote na mipango yote ya maendeleo. Mambo ya maji, mambo ya barabara, hiyo ya stima, hiyo mumesema ya kilimo, hiyo kazi yote inapangwa kwa sababu ya chama ya Jubilee inayoongozwa na Uhuru Kenyatta, ambayo imetuunganisha sisi wote kama Wakenya. Na hiyo ndio chama ambayo sisi tutahakikisha ya kwamba watu wasituletee mambo ya kisirani na mambo ya fujo na mambo ya watu kawanyika. Sisi tutasimama imara kama chama ya Jubilee nyuma ya Uhuru Kenyatta, tuhakikishe ya kwamba ile ahadi ya barabara na maji na stima na maendeleo inatimia ndani ya chama ya Jubilee.
Elsewhere, ANC party leader Musalia Mudavadi cautioned MPs against increasing their wages, arguing that Kenyans are already feeling the pinch of the harsh economy. Mudavadi also warned the government against more borrowing, calling for strict austerity measures. Mudavadi was speaking during a church service at the Deliverance Church in Umoja, Nairobi.
It has come to everybody's knowledge that more than 60% of our resources are going to go to settling of public debt. And the irony of it all is that the government constitutionally does not have money of its own. The government must raise its money through taxation. That is the law. They don't have a kitty of their own. The kitty they have is raised through taxation of its citizens. So the higher the debt becomes, the higher the tax becomes to the ordinary citizen.
Malindi Member of Parliament Aisha Jumwa has castigated Cotu Secretary General Francis Atwoli over his remarks that she cannot fit in his league as the war of words between the two continues to escalate. Atwoli spoke during the Labor Day celebrations in Nairobi as the legislature counted on Saturday at the coast.
Taipu yako yajulikana Atwoli. Mashini za probox ndio zako. V8 uwezalinazo my dear.
The lines have been drawn and the gloves are off as Aisha Jumwa fired shots back at Cotu boss Francis Atwoli, who during the Labor Day celebrations on Wednesday accused Jumwa of using his name to gain mileage.
Huyo mama muache. Nilipokuwa nacheza bugi, hiyo sio size yangu. Kiuno chake. Huyo mama anacheza na jina langu huyo. Wewe muache.
But responding at the funeral service of Kilifi woman representative Gertrude Mbayu's father on Saturday, Jumwa hit back at the trade unionist.
Juzi nilisikia hapo mnabweka sijui Aisha Jumwa mwingine asema Aisha Jumwa si size yangu, si type yangu. Mr. Atwoli type yako naijua mimi.
Atwoli and Jumwa's war of words began after the MP dismissed Atwoli for undermining Deputy President William Ruto's leadership. The Cotu boss had earlier said the DP would not be in the list of those in the presidential race come 2022. The remarks coming just a day after Jumwa snatched the microphone from ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna at a funeral in Malindi constituency, accusing him of politicizing the ceremony.
Onto the international scene, the remains of nearly 85,000 people murdered in Rwanda's genocide were laid to rest Saturday in a somber ceremony in Kigali, a quarter of a century after the slaughter. Mourners sobbed as 81 white coffins containing the remains of 84,437 victims of the 1994 mass killings were buried at the Nyanza Genocide Memorial in the capital.
More than 800,000 people, mostly Tutsis, were massacred over 100 days by Hutu extremists and militia forces determined to eradicate the Tutsi minority in Rwanda. To date, Rwanda begins 100 days of mourning every April 7th on the day the genocide began. But this year has witnessed particular commemorations to mark the 25th anniversary. Some mourners broke down wailing as survivors spoke of the pain of losing their loved ones so brutally. A number were escorted from the funeral by ushers.
Hapa mimi sasa hivi mimi nafurahi sana kwa sababu nimezika mzazi wangu, baba yangu na dada yangu na watoto wake na bofu yangu.
The remains of those interred on Saturday were only found early last year when 143 pits containing thousands of bones and clothing fragments were discovered beneath homes on the outskirts of Kigali. Those exhumed for burial on Saturday came from just 43 such pits, leaving 100 more to go. A painstaking effort was undertaken so that family members could identify their loved ones by their teeth, clothing, and other markings. They join 11,000 other victims already laid to rest at the Nyanza Genocide Memorial. The ethnic bloodshed ended on July 4th when mainly Tutsi rebels entered Kigali, chasing the genocidal killers out of Rwanda. The rebel general was Paul Kagame, who became Rwanda's president and has remained in power ever since.
Gaza militants fired fresh rocket barrages at Israel earlier today in a deadly escalation that has seen Israel respond with waves of strikes as a fragile truce again faltered and further escalation was feared. Gazan authorities reported 4 Palestinians killed in Israeli strikes in the escalation that began Saturday, but Israel disputed their account of the deaths of a pregnant mother and her baby. The latest flare-up came with Hamas, the Islamist movement that rules the blockaded Gaza Strip, seeking further concessions from Israel under the ceasefire. Israel said 430 rockets had been fired from the Palestinian enclave since Saturday, and its air defenses intercepted many of them. The Israeli army said its tanks and planes hit some 200 militant targets in Gaza in response. The United States condemned the rocket attacks on Israel and said it fully supported its right to self-defense against these attacks. Egyptian and UN officials were engaged in discussions to calm the situation, as they have done repeatedly in the past, while the European Union called for an immediate halt to the rocket fire from Gaza. North Korea has confirmed via state media that leader Kim Jong-un has overseen a strike drill testing various missile components. The North last carried out a missile test in November of 2017 before a rapid diplomatic rapprochement saw tensions ease on the peninsula and a series of summits. The United States and North Korea have been at loggerheads since the collapse of a Trump-Kim summit in February, when the two sides clashed over sanctions and the extent of Pyongyang's concessions on its atomic arsenal. Life away from home can be tough to adjust to. Such is the life of 2 refugees, Democratic Republic of Congo native Kashindi Mitima and Ugandan Aisha Namirembe, who have been holed up in a refugee camp for years. NTV's Eunice Omolo met the pair in Kalobey refugee settlement. She shares this love story, highlighting the struggles that brought the two together despite religious and cultural differences. We'll bring you that story right after the sports. let's play. It's time for sports. My name is Ida Orenga. So Gor Mahia will continue their journey towards an unprecedented league title when they travel to Western Stima in one of 6 Kenyan Premier League games this afternoon. Meanwhile, second place Sofapaka will be hoping to keep pace with Kogalo, but will first have to get past Tusker when the two meet at Machakos. That will be after Posta Rangers host Bandari at the same venue in the early kickoff. In other games, AFC Leopards and Sony Sugar will be away to Zoo Kericho. Some women's football now, and Gaspar Youth rose to second on the FKF Women Premier League standings following a 4-0 win over Kisumu Starlets in one of 2 matches played on Saturday. Win Kate Kari found the back of the net thrice in the 16th, 61st and 68th minutes before Corazon Aquino netted the 4th goal in the 89th minute to put it well beyond doubt. The win takes Gaspar to second with 30 points, similar to league leaders Vihiga Queens, but with an inferior goal difference. Vihiga Queens have, however, played a match more than Gaspar. Well, in the other game, Osarian Ladies played out to a 1-1 draw at home to Nyuki Starlets. 6 matches have been lined up today, among them a double-header at the Stima Members Club. Well, son of our soil, Divock Origi, technically, his late winner sent Liverpool top of the Premier League with a 3-2 victory at Newcastle United to put the pressure back on Manchester City and ensure the title race will go to the very final game. Origi, who had come on as a substitute for Mohamed Salah after he was taken off on a stretcher with a head injury that was sustained in a collision with a Newcastle keeper, headed in Shaqiri's free kick in the 86th. in late dramatic fashion on Saturday. The stumbling race for a top 4 finish continues to intensify this afternoon. Chelsea gets the imperfect battle for Champions League status for next season underway with a match against Watford at Stamford Bridge, hoping to topple Spurs in 3rd place as they are separated by 2 points in 4th place with 68. Manchester United, who lie... Serious boxing action was on where Saul Canelo Alvarez unified the middleweight division with a unanimous decision points victory over Daniel Jacobs in Las Vegas. The Mexican, now beaten just once in 55 fights, won Jacobs' IBF belt to add to his own WBC and WBA titles. Jacobs, who's known as the Miracle Man after returning to the ring, to play just a bit more. My name is Ida Orenga. It's back to Olive. Thank you, Ida. Now, as promised, we did tell you we'd bring you a love story, and this one is done by Eunice Omolo. She says life away from home can be tough to adjust to, such as the life of 2 refugees, Democratic Republic of Congo native Kashindi Mitima and Ugandan Aisha Namirembe, who have been holed up in a refugee camp for years. NTV's Eunice Omolo met the pair in Kalobeye refugee settlement. She shares this love story, highlighting the struggles that brought the two together despite religious and cultural differences.
Temperatures as high as 34 degrees, clouds of dust depicts the discomforts of the refugee camp life in Kalobeye settlement. Home to about 26,000 refugees from different countries in East and Central Africa. Here, they live as one people, having left their home countries of Uganda, Burundi, Congo, Somalia on account of conflict. But even the clouds of dust have a silver lining, for in the midst of nearly unbearable conditions, a chance for a fresh start, and sometimes for a lucky few, a chance at new love. Kashindi Mitima, 26-year-old, who fled Democratic Republic of Congo, and his wife, 22-year-old Aisha Namirembe, who sought asylum in Kenya from Uganda 3 years ago, have found just that. Affection that first simmered and then boiled into a comforting love.
Nilikimbia kutoka Congo 2015 ndio niliingia Kenya.
The two have taught their hearts to love, giving spark to hope for living for the two foreigners who are miles away from home.
Yani mi nafurahi na mpenda juu saizi kukutana hapa kwa kambi mwanaume anakupenda sana. Bengine wanakuwa wanachezea banamuke na banabatupa, lakini Mungu tu alinibariki mwanaume mwenye ananipenda, ananisaidia kila kitu. Yani na mimi nampenda zaidi, kisi na ananipenda zaidi.
Kwangu mimi na mke wangu ambaye ni Aisha, mapenzi yetu inakuwa kila siku. Inakuwa kila siku. Yani kila siku bukikucha bunaingia naendelea na kumuona mpya zaidi. Venye tumekutana kwa hii maisha ya camp, maisha magumu, sisi wote ni wakimbizi na bado tunaendelea na kuungana mkono hivi na kupendana. Najua ya kuwa mazuri mengine yako mbele.
The 2-year marriage is mirrored in the interaction and cemented by the little miracle amongst them, their baby, Akonkwa Mitima. They have weathered life trials, risen above harsh conditions, proving their love to be stronger than geographical and religious boundaries.
Mimi sikuangalia dini, lakini roho yangu ikamchagua yeye, nikaona ni vizuri nikae naye. na yeye akanikubalia, hakunikataa cause mimi ni Mkristo, akanipenda hivyo. Nikakaa naye hata kama sasa tunapitia hiyo matatizo fulani kidogo kidogo ya kututishia maisha kwa ajili ya hizo dini zetu mbili ambazo tumeoana na yeye, lakini najua mapenzi itazidi tu na hatuwezi kuachana kamwe.
Hata sasa mimi nimeshageuza dini, nimeshakuwa Mkristo. Swasha kama familia yangu gisi nasema, siwezi hata kumwasha. Siwezi kumwacha mume wangu. Ndiye ananisaidia kila kitu. Hakuna familia yangu saidi kunisaidia. Yani mimi naona tu kila iko kama baba yangu, iko kama mama yangu.
The journey they have traveled together is a reminder that they're stronger together. Camp life may be tough, but their love is tougher, and so are they.
Niliangalia venye mke wangu alikuwa analia machungu, venye mimba imemsumbua. Nikijiangalia naona mimi ndio sababu ya kufanya huyu mwanamke anaumia hivi.
As days grow into months, the two are eyeing years ahead, filled with love and bliss. Eunice Omolo, NTV, Kalobeyei, Turkana County.
Hope that love can blossom even in the most impossible of circumstances. Well, that's been it for NTV at 1. I hope to join you again at 9 p.m. and we'll also have NTV Weekendy at 7 p.m.